Hi, everyone. Ashley Mailloux, Mike Beer here with the Daily Racing Form, taking a look at the Thursday race of the day in the Bluegrass State at Keeneland. It's race number 7, a first level allowance for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward on the main track, mile and a 16th in a field of 8. And I think it's an intriguing field. I know we have a 5-2 shot, Mike, on the morning line, sudden switch, but the race to me feels way more wide open than just one horse.
It's definitely a wide open race, and I won't argue with anybody who likes sudden switch here right off of the debut win around 2 turns at Tampa. She looked really good winning that race, and she's got some pedigree to back her up. But it's not like she doesn't have to move forward if she's going to win right back.
Take a look at the time form U.S. pace projection for this event. We mentioned 2 turns here at Keeneland, and says it favors front runners. The 3 Prides Crossing, while maybe not forward last time out on the turf, has been somewhat forward in those 2 dirt races, especially kind of the early move at Aqueduct, and then the 6 into Amore here for Todd Pletcher, another one that's sort of likes to either be near the lead or as close as possible, as we saw on the debut. But I don't know how quick they're honestly going to go in here, Mike. I didn't feel like there was a ton of speed on paper.
Yeah, I didn't either. Into the 6 into Amore has been right up on the pace in all 3 of her starts, even though they haven't, been sending her to the lead. They're going to go forward with her again. Sudden switch. I thought she had plenty of speed in her debut. Actually, I won't be surprised if she's going forward from the start in here. I wouldn't mind this pace projector being right. I'd like to see Pride's Crossing maybe get a little bit more aggressive this time because they haven't been aggressive with her yet. But she certainly could be forward in this race if they wanted to be.
I think the only thing I don't really agree with is the 4 save time. I don't see this one being that far back early on based on the effort 2 back and then some of the races last summer in New York. We'll kick it off here with the number 1, Betty Davis here for the connections of Michael Tomlinson. It does have a race at Keeneland where this one was second. You have to go pretty far down the page to find that. But as of late, little inconsistent. Feels like this horse has a good race, a bad race, and kind of goes in between those. And more recently, didn't handle the off track at Oaklawn.
Yeah, I guess if you wanted to give her the off-track excuse, you could. Although she did win on an off-track last November, it's a totally different track, Oaklawn to Churchill. So maybe that made a difference. She also then has the 2 synthetic races in there, and if you get beyond those, she did win the last 2 starts on dirt. So she certainly handles this surface, and it's not like she's that far off as far as figures go. I mean, I've seen worse looking 20-1 shots in my life.
I think it's a combination too of maybe the off track and the way she broke in that most
Yeah.
recent start. She just didn't have things go her way, and it's maybe hard for her to recover. The 2 foreseen. This one exits the Grade 3 Royal Delta down at Gulfstream Park, but prior to that in October. But obviously, this one's had a couple of little setbacks where we see a race, goes to the shelf, and continues that pattern for the last 3.
Yeah, I don't love that. That's the one thing that sort of made me concerned about her. Even though, like, I don't really care that much about the Royal Delta last time. She was just in over her head at 1,000,000 to 1. So I don't care about that. And there's, stepping back into the right kind of a race. So she's another one. She's got at least one race that's going to give her some kind of a chance in here. She could be forward from the start.
The 3 Prides Crossing now in the barn of Chad Brown since that most recent effort on the turf. Was able to win on dirt and debut, and that was at 7A is a pretty nice performance at Churchill. And then I feel like there's been a couple of things not necessarily go her way. And I do think the upside on her is returning to the dirt. I think she'll take a step forward.
Yeah, me too. I'm at least hoping that she would in here. I remember really liking her debut early last year. She was really impressive winning and then missed time after that. When she came back off the layoff, they did not get aggressive with her at all in that race. She still looked really green to me in that race. Didn't seem to really like being racing sort of in and among horses in that spot. And then even on turf last time, it was even worse, just sort of gawking at the stands all the way through this stretch. It seems like she hasn't totally figured it out yet, Ashley, but the talent is in there. I mean, I think this filly can really run.
The 4 save time up next. Rod Ortiz Jr. riding for Safi Joseph Jr. And we'll take a look at the performance 2 back where Rod was in the irons and was able to win. Now, it wasn't a huge field. It was a field of 6, so 5 other competitors, but a decent performance from her. And I think it helped being just a couple lengths off the pace. I don't think she really wants to be so far back. That's why I disagreed with the time form U.S. pace projections. Maybe she will be, but I feel like some of her better trips is actually when she's a little bit more tactical, and she'll get up here. She wins by almost 2 lengths. I think it flatters her the runner-up, came back to win next out.
Yeah, better trip that time and sort of grinded it out. I was a little disappointed that she didn't, she still hasn't run a fast race yet since Safi has taken over, even if you forgive her that last one where she was never beating Nick Style. She can win here for sure. I just, to me, she's a horse who started out her career in New York with Chad Brown. I have a lot of hate for this horse. I bet her several times when Chad had her, and she was just disappointing to me anyway, and one start after another.
Fair enough. I won't ask any questions on that. The 5 sudden switch up next here now in the barn of Riley Mott was able to win on debut and did it pretty nicely in terms of just tracked the pace, made that late move, and drew clear by 3 lengths. But now obviously goes to a different barn and hasn't been seen in a couple of months.
Yeah, we'll see how she does here. Trainer change, maybe a little bit of time in between races too. Other than that, though, I liked everything about her debut. I don't know about you, Ashley. I mean, she always traveled in that race. She did get a really good trip in that race, but to me, it sort of always looked like she was going to win. The favorite, Arnold, took a run at her off the turn, and she just easily put that horse away and kept going through the stretch. She was really good first time out.
I really liked it. I just didn't like that the half almost went in 49 flat. That
Yeah.
would be my one knock on the race. The 6 into Amore up next here for Todd Pletcher. Johnny V in the irons was able to win on debut. Another one that had success at Tampa. Now that was going 7/8. Stretched out in distance. I think ran okay. Cut back in distance. I think ran okay. Might be a little bit, I don't know, maybe too strong. Ran well. Just to me, I wanted to see more in those last two, and I haven't seen it, and they've tried different things.
Yeah, I think we look at her the same way. I mean, on paper, she looks pretty good. And then when you watch her races, you're kind of like, I don't know how good she is actually. I mean, to me, she's had two perfect trips in a row in her last two races and just wasn't good enough either time. She just sort of left me a little cold, and she's going to be a little bit of a short price.
And I like her in the exotics. I just can't use her on top for that reason. It's already given away. She won't be my top pick in this event. The 7 Crazy Cami up next year from Michael Maker. We'll take a look at her most recent performance where she's going to close. It was a field of 12. That's what you see at Oaklawn, big fields. And she was towards the back of the pack early, but she did get some pace to run at 23-3, 47-2. And she comes rolling here late. And I thought she had some problems even earlier at the top of the stretch here in terms of traffic near the quarter. And it's a good performance. My concern with her is she going to be too far back? But I think if you're looking for a horse to use underneath, she would be the sort of horse that I'd be intrigued by.
Yeah, because she always shows up and runs. I'm concerned. She's certainly improved recently, but I'm concerned that she just sort of seems like she's attained a level now. I mean, she's going to run in the mid to upper 70s, and I'm just not really convinced that that's going to be good enough to beat this field. But maybe she can get a piece.
Then outside is the number 8 Flair Plaisir here for Barry King. This one really disappointed last time out, but maybe there's excuses. They tried a mile and a half, probably based on the mile and quarter performance 3 back, and it was just too far for this filly. But we saw another one here that's going to be rolling late. If she's going to be part of the screen later, if we're going to see her on the screen, it's going to be because she's rolling late. And I think that's a little bit of a concern for her because I do think even the 7, who's a deep closer, is going to have a jump on her.
Yeah, don't love her running style. I mean, the only win of her career did come on dirt, but it was an off-turf race where she probably wasn't beating anybody, and it was a pretty slow race as well. I don't know. I just didn't see her getting the right trip and upsetting this field.
All right, that's the field of 8 for race number 7 this Thursday at Keeneland. Don't forget, race of the day. Past performances are free on the DRF website. And we'll move to top pick time. And we're going to go in different directions than the horses that are the lower prices on the morning line, that being the 5 and the 6. And you'll go with the 3 Pride's Crossing. Second start now for trainer Chad Brown.
Yeah, I just want to bet this horse. I think she's better than she looks on paper. I'm hoping she sort of straightens her act out here a little bit. Maybe the greenness will go away. She'll get the right trip in this race and move forward. I just want to bet her against this field.
I'm going to use the 4 Save Time. I agree with what you said, Mike, in terms of her last 3, that her figures aren't as great. They're not as flashy, but I'm hoping that's not because of the barn change, but more importantly, because of just going around one turn. I do like her stretching out in distance, and maybe that'll help her. And maybe she'll get in the winner's circle. We'll see. She is just 1 for 10 in her career with a lot of second place finishes on 6-5 for me. It's race number 7 this Thursday at Keeneland. Good luck.